Hello my good students, welcome back to our War on the Sea Let's Play series as the US Navy coming very quickly to a close, I feel. Today we shall be taking Cavian, or at least we shall be invading it. I'm sure since our invasion of Ballpop is going swimmingly with very little resistance, Cavian shall not be much difference. The real challenge of course will be getting in without taking any damage from their air defense forces. And I don't see any problem with that at all. We have brought in the Wasp and the Kearsarge to help out with that, and of course we do have Cape Gloucester and Cape Hoskins to help out with their lightnings and such if need be. So not much else to say there really. Let's just get going, see what we can do today. Alright, so first things first, F in the chat guys, I think this is the final enemy submarine that we have to deal with. Let's just double check that. Type A's, where are we? Have 3, all done. Type B's, all done. Type B Mob 1s, all done. So this should be the final Type C. It is indeed, because we did get rid of all of the I-400s as well. So let's do that right now. Let's get 8 lightnings with Vars out to go straight on over to that, and that will be dealt with very nicely. We do have a few patrols coming. One over here, probably just 3 destroyers, not a big threat. We've got the odd transport or cargo ship of some sort just milling around out here. They do go up to our bases now and then, but they don't land troops or anything, which is why we haven't bothered dealing with them, especially since we do just want to get straight on over to these bases and get these sorted out straight away. So I can't remember exactly how long that's going to take to get over here. That's going to take around 13ish hours for the furthest supply force away from that to get over, and that is actually brilliant. We should be able to get up over there under cover of night and get a fair distance away over the next morning, but we should be having some very big air engagements. We have launched some Wildcats and some Hellcats of course to protect our supplies and our Kearsarge group already. But we shall see what happens. So really, that's all there is to do in preparation, to be honest. Let's get going. Okay guys, so we have been intercepted by some air forces from, I believe, Rabaul and Cavian over our Kearsarge. We do have the Wildcats actually from our supplies in reinforcements over here, but I don't think they're going to make it in time. We are going to give them some orders to come in. So we've got 3 groups by the looks of it of Nels. In fact we do. They're all armed with torpedoes, which is something to keep in mind there. And we do have a few groups of Vals as well. I'm going to send, of course, a few groups of Hellcats over here. We have 14 Hellcats in total. So we're not going to send all of them over to deal with these Vals, I don't think. We should be okay to deal with them fairly easily. I'm a tad more worried actually about the Nels, although because of course they are so slow moving, they will be fairly vulnerable of course to our ship's surface to air guns. So that should do for, we'll just send 2 groups over to the Vals I think, and because the Nels are armed with torpedoes, what we're going to do is target these Nels, but we're not going to issue orders once again. We are going to dive down with them and then go down to engage them. So what we're going to do is go down like this, reduce our speed and come down to 20 meters above sea level there. We're going to take the 4th plane over here of that group and target this now here. I'm going to take this squad over here towards this area and do exactly the same sort of thing, reduce our speed so that we don't overshoot them and come down to their level there, and that will actually be all of our Hellcats given orders there. So that's going to be rather spicy actually. Which group did I target first? It's absolutely fine. Did miss the 2nd group then over here, and that's actually what we're going to target right now I think with this group as such, and that should be brilliant there. With our surface ships then, what we're going to do is lay smoke with all of these. If we take off also fire flak as well so we can target these Nels, and we did ask for smoke as well, let's do that. We get them to, I think, turn to port over here like so, and that should be okay for now. Let's get going and we'll keep a close eye on these Hellcats going down to see these Nels I think. just speed up a tad. We're not really too pressed at the moment. How are the nails looking now? So they are down. Let's give these Hellcats some orders to attack them, since the nails have reached pretty much their attacking altitude. And that should be attacking very nicely just there. Let's just finish that off. How are we doing over the valves? Do still have quite a bit of distance to get to over to the valves. So we're all firing on the same nails then. Let's see if we can move a few targets around here to help our planes out a tad. But we're struggling still to get on to the flanks of these nails here. We do have one Hellcat taking down one of them. Excellent stuff. Looks like we're getting in range of the valves as well, dealing quite well with them. That's not so bad at all. Just getting onto the back of this group here, but we do need to get back on over to these nails. They're going to drop. I can't particularly tell what they're going for at the moment. Do we have a Hellcat just over here? Can we open up, please? Before they drop. I can't tell if they have dropped just yet. That's the problem. They have not, but we're getting very close. This one's down. Excellent. Looks like we have down most of them. What we're going to do is brake over here and actually make sure we don't get any sort of collisions. We slow down a tad, get the Arizona to actually just carry on as it is. I think that should be fine over there. Let's get these Hellcats then onto the rest of these nails over here, shall we? And those valves actually not looking too bad either for us. Rather dark, it's not helping us entirely. Let's try and get some range shots off there, and that is okay. Don't see any torpedoes in the water just yet, so it does look like just this one valve left. Can't quite get onto the flank so easily there, but that's okay. We have another Hellcat, the number 1 over here, to get some range shots off there before it does start diving. And there you go, that should be it. Let's just pause and take a report before we leave. 18 out of 18, no one hit, no torpedoes dropped, all good, let's leave. Thank you very much. So that's a fairly sizable force we've taken on already, actually. That was very, very quick indeed. Let's carry on. Okay, so what's happened now is actually we have what appears to be some sort of fighters. Okay, so they're Arses. They are armed with some light bombs here. They've gone actually for the Wasp, which is an interesting choice, but I mean, absolutely a decent one. Absolutely a decent one. There's no surface ships to protect it, but only light bombs, only Arses. We have brought our Wildcats and Hellcats over to deal with this, so should be okay to actually contest this fairly handily. To be honest, our Wildcats, of course, no longer invincible, so this is going to be somewhat of a fairer fight than before. Not exactly fair, because we do have 36 aircraft ourselves to deal with these Arses. We shall see if anything else rears its ugly head as reinforcements over here. But we do only have, by the looks of it, 4 groups of 3 to deal with. And that is less than half of our total aircraft here. We shall see, we shall see. But of course dogfights can be fairly long and drawn out in this game. It's just how they are, and that's absolutely fine, that's how it should be. Let's just take all of our Hellcats as well in just a second. Do want to get all of our aircraft involved if possible to help our odds there a tad. Do have a lot of Wildcats here themselves. Didn't think I launched quite so many originally, but that's absolutely fine. Does mean we have the greater numbers here. Probably keep actually 1 or 2 groups of Hellcats. We'll keep the final 2 groups of Hellcats in reserve just in case anything appears. Tell you what we'll do is we'll also take some smoke on this group here, because our Wasp is of course still rather damaged. We have lost the rudders and propellers there, so rather unfortunate. Speed, total speed is 44% with a turn efficiency of 20%, so we're not going to be dodging out the way anytime soon. Look at all of our aircraft coming in here. if these howitzers decide to stay in formation, they're going to be rather screwed. It does look like they're taking the air engagement properly though. So that's good for our surface ships. That's already one down. We get these, get a couple of them there, that's okay. How are the rest of our orders here? I don't remember what else we got onto the 1 and 2 there, but that's okay. Let's send in these Hellcats then, our reserves. Just look like we're getting some Wildcats on their flanks though, so let's just carry on with that. So we get some early shots out there. This guy's struggling to get a straight line onto the back of this particular howitzer, and he is going for the Wasp as he has been downed. Not too sure if they'd be able to sink the Wasp here. Not too sure if we're even particularly in smoke. Perhaps we should slow down a tad so that we are in smoke properly there. I'm probably a bit late for that now though. How many have we actually downed already? 6 out of 12. Very nice indeed. Nice like coconut rice, some would say. Struggling for these turns. We would like to not go at max speed all the time, guys. Just keep the turn there a bit better. We have downed that particular howitzer. Should be able to get on the flank of this one okay with our Hellcat here. The massive firepower on the Hellcats as well compared to our Wildcats. Really helps out. Get that on the turn there, not quite, so you can stop firing, my dude. And what else could we source out here? Looks like we are all swarming really to the last couple howitzers now. Who are we after here? Can't quite see. Is that the one diving ahead over there? Can we get some range shots in the turn? Not quite. Let's turn down our speed ourselves, being very free with that today, the controls. Absolutely brilliant. That's what we'd like to see. Got such a mess of our own planes on the map, I can't tell where the enemies are. I do believe it is just this last one now though. Let's take a quick report. And it is indeed this last one. Okay, so that really should be the majority of their air defences, since we have destroyed everything from Boarpop in the last day or so. I'm sure at Cavian they'll have some sort of heavier bombers, perhaps some Domrus to come out. We might even expect some Emilys to come out. Could also expect the Bettys to come from Rabaul, of course. That's still quite the possibility, so we'll see about that. Of course, I've just remembered I forgot to actually engage the submarine down here, so that is still lurking about as a note there, but that's absolutely fine. Do have things to deal with that in our group over here, which incidentally is no longer a CA heavy group, funnily enough. That's absolutely fine. Let's just carry on. We've got about 7 hours left of air time left. Let's recycle these Wildcats for the moment, and we can bring these Hellcats up over to our supplies force for now. We do have some lightnings coming in here from Cape Hoskins as reinforcements just in case, and that should be okay really. Let's carry on. Okay, so it's been that few hours now. There was zero interference on these supplies over here, but I was a little bit worried actually. We got intercepted, we've spotted some dive bombers anyway, over here all the way to, over the New Hebrides. So we scouted down this strait over Renault Island with some Havocs. We scouted over here around Santa Cruz with some Lightnings, saw nothing. What was really interesting was that the same group of dive bombers flew all the way up, looked like they went straight back to Rabaul. So a little bit of bullshittery going on there, a little bit of magic. That's absolutely fine. Our troops are the Australian supplies, so let's unload all cargo here. We are in range, and our supplies over here are of course carrying these supplies for them to fight with. So let's see how that's doing. Very, very nice indeed. Once again, surprise, surprise. So what we're going to do is retreat out the same way we came, and I think we're going to send those over to the Cairns over here, because we should be able to pick up everything over there. We'll get resupplied for sure by the time we get down there. Yeah, we definitely should actually. So we'll be able to pick up everything then. And what we're going to do after that is, I think, invade, I forget which is called, Bougainville, Shortland Islands, and of course go for Guadalcanal as much as possible. I think pretty much all at the same time if we can. Let's just make sure we're doing this properly. My mouse is going all over the place. Let's come down here and we'll put Milne Bay as the rally points for now. We can sort this out a little later, just refine that a bit better later on. So let's carry on once again. We're retreating back with these supplies over here, and the Essex is pulling back. Going to bring the Iowa down a little closer because we did think there might be a surprise carrier down here after we saw those dive bombers, but otherwise not really a lot going on, to be honest. And that has been the case for the last few episodes. I do apologise, but like I said, even though the Japanese still have the majority of their more modern type destroyers, such as the Fubikis and such, and their fleet carriers, and of course both Yamatos, where the bloody hell are they? You know, where the bloody hell are they? But you know, that's how it is. Let's keep going. Okay guys, so you may be able to see that a couple days have passed since I last saw you. Had a couple minor air engagements when we were retreating from Kavieng, but nothing really to worry about there, and then it has been very quiet. However, you can probably see that we're trying to set up a small surface engagement here. We have seen what is a convoy over here. I have scouted this out before. Previously, that was only a day or so ago. It was fairly northern, didn't look like it was going to push in too far. The biggest ship here is a single Mogami, but it is escorted by a fair few new type destroyers, and it does have a fair amount of supplies and troops by the looks of it, going straight for Guadalcanal. Or indeed Redo Island, actually, considering its course over here. So we are going to try and intercept that with our North Carolina task force over here, with of course the Australia, San Diego and such over there. So that is going to be fairly one-sided, but I am still expecting to lose a destroyer or two there. As we have done previously. Incidentally, we've also been quietly dropping off some fuel backwards and forwards to Malaysia in preparation for upgrading Guadalcanal. And we have, after being resupplied a couple of days ago, brought out yet another supply force over here to invade Bougainville very gently. Thank you very much. We've gone rather hard on it actually. We've got former callers with 2.1 thousand troops each, and a few of these craters, I believe, at 1,300 supplies each as well. So going to be a tad undersupplied, I think. But that's honestly going to be absolutely fine with the 0 defensive bonuses there on Bougainville, and of course I believe a very minor defence over there. And actually it's escaped my notice that we have actually taken Borpop and Kavieng. So what actually do we get over there out of interest? We get some Avengers off of Kavieng. Probably should have realised that after we were intercepted by Kates earlier. What do we get off of Borpop? The usual sorts of stuff over here as well. Absolutely brilliant. It was crossing my mind that to actually bring up all of our battleships just when we do invade Guadalcanal to really hammer it home to the Japanese and bombard Rabaul. Just for the sake of it, just a bit of flavour, just a bit of fun. Don't really gain anything else out of that, to be honest. Especially since they're not really sending anything really threatening to us. We'll save that for the end, just in case they do decide to send something threatening in the meantime. So let's try together, shall we, to try and get this particular task force. Are we moving over there? Kingfisher sighted something. That's that one. Absolutely fine. We'll launch a Kingfisher of our own once we actually get in range there. Let's move directly to it now. And I think, once again, we're going to ignore our past mistakes and try and come into that fairly close, actually. Let's just take a quick measurement here. That should be about 30-ish kilometers away from them then. Get a tag closer. Want to get 15 ideally kilometers away from them. We'll get a tad closer there then. Try and move forwards so that we are moving with our nose in there. And there we go. That should be about it. We can't zoom in any closer, so that's going to be about as accurate as our readings get. But a 15 kilometer distance that appears to be. So let's launch a Kingfisher there. And what that will do is help us spot on the surface there. So let's go straight into that, like so. And what we're going to do first is the usual prep. Going to take all of our ships, turn off fire at will, make sure radar is on for everyone. And what we're going to do is actually slow down our speed a tad. That's just to make sure we get a little more control over our ships a tad later. And that really should be it. Let's get going. Let's see what we can find. Okay, we are very close to them. That's not 15 kilometers. But what do we have here? We have a Mogami, like I said, a lot of troop transports. Because I am playing with the Pacific mod enabled, they've actually got a few more troop transports available to them. So have we, but that's absolutely fine. Doesn't really affect us at all there, to be honest. Just makes it gives a little bit more flavour. Really, they still sink all the same. So let's identify this Mogami. In fact, we'll identify everything here. We'll do it with our Kingfisher. We have... Where are we? Mogami, there you are. Lovely stuff. Have we sunk one of these before? We have. Excellent. Yeah, we did sink both Tonnes quite early on, didn't we? Yeah, that's amazing. I was just making sure I didn't make that mistake. Of course, we do have both rear turrets there, so that's absolutely not a problem. Let's identify all the destroyers first, shall we? This appears to be a... one of those ships once again. One of those once again. Let's go for a Sashio over here. Let's go for Akizuki here, because that is indeed what it is. That's rather nasty, actually. This is another again. Let's go for Kagero for the moment. And what we'll do over here is go for another Kagero. They do seem to like sending one type of destroyer. So if we've misidentified one, we've probably misidentified all of them. Let's try and identify some of these cargo ships, shall we? That looks to me like actually an oiler. I've already seen that. That is a Kiyomaru. No, it's not. Actually, that is a Nippon Maru. Interesting. They've changed that? Or am I looking... could be wrong about that, actually. Let's go over here. Could be... It's an Osaka Maru. Excellent stuff. Let's go over here. That is... Let's see... Kurohime? Should we say that? I think it's a Kurohime. Let's go over here. That's another Osaka. Or Osaka. Let's go here. And this is a Nippon Maru. Surely. Surely that is Nippon or Kiyo Maru. That's a Kiyo. Lovely stuff. That's that. Brilliant. Let's get firing. Let's get shooting. Let's get the North Carolina onto the Mogami. And what we'll do is AP, narrow, excellent, do that over there. We'll also get... Which one was it? San Diego was the Atlanta class. Baltimore is what we're looking for. Let's go over here and get that onto the Mogami once again as well. And what we'll do then is we'll work down. We'll go with... to be honest, really the Mogami is the only massive threat, isn't it? We'll get a lot of fire coming in from the destroyers, of course. So we'll get the Atlanta onto Akizuki over here. Don't want AP, but it's okay, we don't fire us off anyway. Philadelphia, you can fire off on the Akizuki as well with some narrow HE. Brilliant. Birmingham, you can go onto a Sashio over here, and we'll see how well we've identified that. Benson, what is your position there? You can fire on the Sashio as well. Go over there. We've done the Baltimore. Cummings, your position's there. Let's get you onto Kagero, and I think that's what we're going to focus on with the rest of our ships there, is the Kagero. Like so. We'll see how well we have identified these, like I say, in just a second when our solutions either rise or don't. Let's get their T's crossed a tad, so we can get full broadside on them. Might actually want to hold off with the North Carolina here, actually, because we are just going to be wasting shells. Let's hold there then. We have spotted, have we? Yeah, a middle ship over here, and that is another destroyer. Let's just identify that with our Kingfisher very quickly. To me, it's another of those funny little destroyers. Just all of these three just look exactly the same to me. So, what do we have targeting those? We're going to go for the San Diego. That looks like we're firing on the Akizuki with that. Looks like this isn't a Sashio, so what do we fire at on other stuff? Kageros are looking good as well. That's fairly acceptable. Let's try and identify that as something else, though, just to see how it goes. Let's go for Yugamo. Dropping. Kagero. Kagero, thank you. That's going to increase. I'm sure we'll go down there with a Sashia. No. It's difficult to tell because it's rising so high here. Let's go back to Kagero. A Sashia. That's got to be a Kagero, hasn't it? Are they firing torpedoes? Does not look like it, does it? Let's get firing again with the North Carolina because we do have a massively good solution there. It's not going to get much better. Yep, taking some very nice damage indeed. There is the Mogami. We might just check their destroyers in a second. Just exploit the snappy camera a tad and see if they have fired off any torpedoes just yet. Doesn't look like they're firing off with this particular ship, the Akazuki there. That's absolutely fine. Wouldn't expect them to be honest, with Akazukis. Not really what they're made for. We might have a minor collision over here. How are we doing? Oh, Anderson's taken a few hits, hasn't it? It's always one destroyer, it just gets focus. Let's move some damage control onto the floods. And this Kagero that we've spotted over here doesn't appear to be identified properly. Unless... Oh, Akazuki suffered a magazine explosion. Excellent. Oh, it is under... It's not under smoke, so it might not actually be a Kagero. Let's go for a Sashia there. No, it might well be. It's not really helping that, is it? No, Kagero it is then, I think. No, it's very difficult to tell. It's very difficult indeed. Let's just go for Kagero because that seems to be the best, but it is moving around quite a bit. There's lots of smoke around. Akazuki's sinking, so we need to change our targets there very quickly. We had the San Diego firing on that as well as our Brooklyn class, didn't we? Let's go over for this Kagero. I don't think anyone's firing on that at all. Let's go over here. Philadelphia can do that as well, thank you very much. How's our own formation looking? We might be getting... should be right over here. The Anderson's the one that was taking fire, but we should be getting under control of that fairly soon if we don't take many more hits. Thank you. How's that Mogami looking? Not looking great, was it? Yep, it's basically dead in the water. Are its guns actually active there? Doesn't look like they're firing just yet. They might still be on the reload though. Let's take a quick sip of my drink, I think. Yeah, the rear guns are still firing. What we're going to do is actually pause very quickly. We're going to get the North Carolina, which has taken some hits by the looks of it from the Mogami there. That's absolutely fine. Going to hold on to that and actually get some manual shots if we press play because we can't target otherwise. Just at the rear midships there. Press hold again. That's not going to help. Let's go again there. And go to the Australian change its targets then. And actually go for this Kagero over here, which is actually somewhat pristine, and that should not be allowed. Should absolutely not be allowed. How dare you? Let's get our secondaries onto that as well. We can get the San Diego to help out on that. Actually, not that. We get the... where are we? Baltimore. I don't know why I keep getting that mixed up. Let's go to this Kagero then and fire out over there. Like that should be good enough. Who is this? This is Anderson. It is indeed. Bit of a mess our formation at the moment, but that's okay. Doesn't look like we're going to get any collisions. We're getting a few more hits onto the Benson as well, unfortunately. It is just the sheer volume of destroyers they have, though. The AI does seem to do well at concentrating its fire. And of course, with the amount of smoke and the amount they're changing their courses, our solutions are going to get hampered a tad. How far is the North Carolina firing out? It's still reloading. It's not a problem there. We'll see how well those hit. But the Mogami is sinking, so that's absolutely not needed. So what we're going to do with that is actually help out on, I think, another Kagero. We'll go for this one. It does look rather pristine, doesn't it? Let's hold out on there for the moment. Get some spotting shells out with our secondary batteries. Might want to change our formation, just break off a few ships here actually, just to help out. Let's bring the Baltimore up over here. Anderson can basically do the same, do the Benson as well, though that's really where they're going to go, the way we moved our ships earlier. Let's just turn round here to get everything a little better. Increase your speed, please, Birmingham. You can actually turn around like that. Should be okay to do so there. We have a very nice solution on this Kagero here, so let's fire out on the main guns. And how are we looking actually? I think we've only sunk the 2 ships so far. That's okay. We have very much crippled the rest of their fighting ships. Apart from this bloody cargo over here. Looks like a miss with our main battery guns there, but that's okay. Absolutely fine. Are we firing out at this with anyone else? That's the question. Doesn't appear so. That's okay. So it is likely just that battleship at the moment. No worries there. Very much dealing with the rest of their destroyers though, fairly handily. Okay, so just a little recap. We are trying to reposition to their flank a tad. Don't know how ordered that's going to be with some of our ships actually working independently, but that's absolutely fine. We can get on top of that if it does start to go wrong. We have just sunk another cargo over here, so do have this string of 3, which are clearly very heavily damaged. So what we're going to do is actually start going over to some of these cargo ships over here with our North Carolina. Once again, get some spotting shells out with our secondary guns there. We'll see if anyone else is okay to actually break off anything now. I think really just want to punish their destroyers there, but our Benson is the one coming under fire now and actually very heavily damaged there. Either lose this or send it back to port after the battle here. Either way, that's going to be downed for the foreseeable future. Quite a few fires and floods there. One compartment permanently destroyed there, and we can see our rudder and propeller over here flooded and firing. That's the same message as I was reading before. The number 8's down. That's absolutely fine. Looks like this Sasha is dead in the water. Let's see if we can find out who's firing on that. Might have actually been on that particular ship. Is it that one? Where are you? Can't see that on the map there. Is that got one going down? It's interesting. That might well be the one going down there. No? What am I looking at then? That's interesting indeed. Maybe it is going down. Fair enough. Number 6 is going down now. That's brilliant. That's going to free up some sort of guns. Who was firing on that? Looks like our heavy cruiser's firing on that. If that's the case, we can start going on to more of these supply ships. Let's get the North Carolina's main battery guns firing out on that now. How many HE shells do we have? Quite a few left. That's absolutely fine. Let's go over to the old sucker over here. Like so. We just need to move actually like that over here. Australia was doing the same, absolutely fine. San Diego is going for Osaka Maru. Philadelphia is probably what we wanted, or rather our Baltimore is what I mean. That's okay. Let's get that on to this Kiyomaru over here then, like so. Get our secondaries out as well. Where did our Kingfisher go? Let's just hover that over the enemy over there. Increase its speed. Looks like we're doing okay for formation wise over here. The Benson of course is going to be struggling. What we're going to do is put that under smoke cover and really bring down its speed to help our crews out there. Should be okay really to help out with that. So are we okay to fire out here? We've not quite got a decent angle on that. Is that why we're not firing here? Have re-established contact. There we go. That's why we couldn't see the Asashio earlier. So who was firing on that? Was that anyone in particular? Birmingham must have been firing on that. That's absolutely fine. Is it moving? No, it's not. So let's hold and get some manual shots out on that. And watch it burn down, I think, really. Look at that. That's disgusting. Let's get our shots on over there, roughly. Was anyone else thinking of firing? Like Benson was, but that's okay. What were the rest of our destroyers doing? They're currently sitting fairly idle. Let's get out on this cargo over here then, like so. Anderson was going for that as well, and Anderson actually seems to have recovered fairly well, and actually it has. Look at that. excellent job. Let's really hammer then this destroyer with our remaining destroyers and active destroyers then, if that's the case. And we should be able to deal with those cargo ships fairly easily. Even if we don't, they will absolutely start to retreat, and that will be a nullified invasion force as far as I'm concerned there. Let's get back to our Birmingham then, because that has dealt with the Asasio, and that then can help out with the Kiyomaru over here actually. Incidentally, that's doing fairly well. Have we hit any of these ships at all, really? It looks like we've hit the Kurohime over here. Not really the Osaka over there. That's okay. I think we're doing alright there. I think we're doing just fine. Yeah, the Kurohime is definitely on fire there. And our formation is looking actually okay. So really just wait for this cargo to go down, and we can sort of call it there, I think. Okay, so after a few minutes later, we did decide to disengage from that particular engagement, and that's just because the enemy were dropping off of detection and were absolutely retreating. Did manage to sink a couple of their transport ships, that's absolutely fine there. So as far as I'm concerned, that invasion is nullified. We've got a fairly healthy amount of command points there as well, which is very, very nice indeed. However, that's not going to be the end for this particular episode just yet. So what we're going to do is move up with our group over here a tad, and we're going to go on ahead to where this particular group will invade Bougainville. So let's carry on. Well, 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 guys, look what we've found here. Come out of the woodwork once again. Out just south of Milne Bay, we've seen what was described as a battleship task force, and I thought that's absolute bollocks. Not seen one for ages, have we? Congo, Ryujo, not seen a Ryujo at all, and a Takao and a Miyoko. Absolutely brilliant. Can't wait to get into that. Let's roddy bloody go. Let's what we're going to do then is actually go for the Ryujo first, because these bow fighters are armed with rockets. I actually wasn't expecting, like I said, to see anything rather massive here, and I thought rockets would be the best option, considering it may well have been just a light force there. So what we're going to do is actually take off our fire at will as well, so we don't get interrupted by any possible zeros coming in. And that is going to be brilliant. That's going to be absolutely amazing. Look at this. If we can at least, because I mean it never happens, but if we can get the flight deck out of commission there, that'd be amazing. But as I said, I don't think we've seen a Ryujo yet at all in this series, and they're finally bringing out the ruddy bloody big hitters. Right as well, when everything about us is mispositioned to deal with this. This is amazing. I'm loving it. See if we actually get any decent hits here. That will do a fair bit. That will absolutely do a fair bit to the Ryujo there. What is the report there? Moderate to moderate. You know, that's absolutely fine. Let's regroup everyone into one big group. Well, they are dying in droves here, and they have launched some zeros as well. Oh, that's brilliant. That's absolutely brilliant. I've not seen anything like this for ages. I'm so happy. We're not going to go back in with those bow fighters. I don't think we're going to be able to ignore the zeros there. They are just that much quicker. But what we'll do is try and evade them as much as possible. We'll play around with our altitude actually and such. That's one decent way in this game to do so. We'll see if that fire develops at all. We didn't get too many rocket hits on there, and of course we're all concentrated on one area. Not a problem actually if that's how it's going to be against a carrier like this, or rather they were fairly concentrated. As far as the design is concerned with the modules on this, that will actually be where one of the air flight deck modules is located, so hopefully that's gone down permanently. Never know. But still, this is going for Port Moresby and Milne Bay by the looks of it. And like I said, we have nothing over there to defend other than our airfields, which are, of course, leveled up. But that is actually somewhat worrying. Actually, no, what we can do is get our Liberators out. We're going to get the... Yeah, Abs has a very good idea. Going to get the Liberators out from Australia to deal with this. It's exactly what they're for. The zeros are on our tails there. Let's dive down once again. Going to lose sight of this Ryujo very soon, unfortunately. I don't think that's really... Yeah, it's moderate to minor. I don't think that's going to do anything there. Can't fast forward. I think what we're going to do is... It sounds like a big mistake because the fires are still raging there actually, but we are going to come straight out of that. I think they'll be able to get on top of that absolutely fine. But before we leave, just going to double check the armour of a Ryujo over here. That is actually classed as a CV, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, there we go, right at the bottom. Only the one in class. And yeah, fairly limited armour actually. So rockets, if we hit a few more, would have done quite a good job there actually. And its flight consists of 21 zeros and 12 or 16 Kates rather. So of course more of an escort carrier to be honest. So let's leave. Does look like the fire's dissipating somewhat anyway. So let's go out. And you know what? I'm going to be horrible. That is going to be the end of it there, guys. We're going to focus on destroying that in the next episode there. So it is located over here. Let's mark that while we think about it. And we're going to launch. Was it Cutton they come from? It is indeed. We're going to get the big old Liberators out, and they're going to come out with... I think we're going to go with volume rather than... 4 £2,000 bombs. How much fuel? That is amazing. That's absolutely going to reach there. So it looks like they're going for Port Moresby, and this is actually the first Port Moresby invasion we've seen. Likely because we haven't been scouting so actively. So we do have the Wasp over here, so we can bring that down a tad, and that will have its Dauntlesses and Avengers to help out that. We do of course have the Port Moresby aircraft as well, but because we're going with a historical payload sub-mod at the moment, just testing that out, we don't have the big bombs available from the Lightnings, but that doesn't make much difference to be honest, because you wouldn't be able to get the Endurance all the way from Port Moresby over to there anyway with them. So that's okay. Let's call it an end there though. Thank you very much for watching. I hope you've enjoyed the episode today. Very nice surprise at the end there indeed. Day 100 as well. What's the time to, what a big round number that is. To have the biggest surprise for us. So maybe extending this campaign a bit longer than I thought. But once again, thank you very much for watching. I've been the Edified Gamer, and I hope all of your nights and days are auspicious. Goodbye.